Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. My name is Troy Reed, and I was being interviewed last time in our interview. Today, I'm going to be go ahead and interviewing Steven, the other half of our TPP program. We're co-founders of the company. We're going to talk a little bit about it, but we're mainly going to talk about Steven today. So, kind of just to get us rolling off the jump, Steven, tell us a little bit about yourself, man.
All right, so my name's Steven. 24 years old. Graduated college last year. Um, Sorry, my dog. She's like trying to get up on my lap, but yeah. So I'm gonna keep it more Turo oriented. So I started Turo just a year and a week ago, and
Oh,
I
wow.
have 260 trips on Turo and about 40 to 50 private rentals.
Wow. Okay. So, if you were to just meet somebody and you were trying to explain to them what you do and how you got started into Turo, what would you say?
So I created a company when I was in college called Astro Trading. Did pretty well. We got 700 monthly subscribers.
Wow.
We ran that for a while. Sold the company a few times. I like sold it, then bought back in. And I took that money, put it into crypto. Crypto did really well. So by the time I was like a senior in college, I had a good bit of money laying around. And I always knew I didn't want to work for anyone. So I figured out ways to make passive income to where I wouldn't need anyone. And I went on YouTube and I just started like researching. And I forgot how I came across Turo. Um, I think I watched this video of this like Latino dude, really slick back hair. He had like a really big YouTube channel, but he was interviewing this dude who did Turo, and that like got me interested into it. I had my car from high school and college. I was like, I'm gonna put that one up, see how it goes. Got rented within 24 hours of putting it up, and yeah, I liked it right away. Gave me the confidence to get a C8, and I got that. And then from there, I just continued growing until I had 7 cars. Now I have 6 because I sold the first one I started with. But yeah,
Okay. Awesome. So that first car you started with, how long did you run with that first car?
uh, just a little under a year.
Okay. So you just sold it recently?
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Okay. Cool. So since we're talking about your fleet, obviously you started with that one car, you built up to seven, now you're at six. With the six cars, do you try to attack one class or do you try to diversify your fleet to meet different needs?
Yeah, so since I was young, and obviously like all my friends, they're not as big of entrepreneurs, so they were like, "Oh, you got the money, man. Go get the cool cars." So I was like, "Yeah, you're right. I'm gonna go get a Tesla now." I got like a blacked out Model Y. Uh,
Nice.
I was the first one to get the 2023 Beamer X1 in the East Coast. Got those, and while so the Tesla became mine, and the Beamer I was renting out along with the Corvette and the Jetta. And I started thinking, um, like so we have a really famous like high-end restaurant in our area called the Ritz-Carlton. I'm sure it's like over
Yeah.
in Florida too.
Yeah.
So I was talking to my dad about like how, the Turo game isn't that lucrative, but my Jetta does very well. And he gave me a pretty good quote. He's like, which does more money in gross revenue per year, McDonald's or Ritz Carlton? And I was like,
That's a great point.
let me go buy me some more Jettas. And so I went and bought myself some Jettas, and now I have mostly economy cars with a few like high end luxuries. And then I got the one sports car.
Nice. Okay. So diversified a little bit, but I mean, that's a great point, right? Sometimes it's not about having the flashiest car. I was watching a guy the other day that's on YouTube and he has the guy in Arizona, I forget his name, the American flag guy. He
Hmm.
has like 100 Fiat 500s
Yeah.
and two Lamborghinis. And he's like, listen, one month my Lamborghini did $29,000 in revenue and the next month it did $2,900.
Yep.
It's kind of that risk you take with those higher end cars. Obviously, that's an extreme case. But economy always rents, and it's definitely the right way to go, especially when you're starting and you want a low risk.
100%.
So your vehicles, right? Obviously having 6 or 7 cars at a time, where do you store them? And then the second part of that question is, do you ever meet your guest in person or do you do everything remotely?
Yeah, so I have this parking lot near me. I was renting out of my neighborhood for a bit.
Yeah.
Um, my neighbors weren't liking that at all. Um, it's a very interesting thing because I've seen a lot of YouTube videos, like a lot, and I've spoken to a lot of Turo Rentals hosts. No one has ever talked about this, but it seems my neighbors really didn't like me doing business here. And so they called the zoning department and my county, and
Jesus.
I they threatened to take me to court, the county itself, unless I were to stop doing business in my neighborhood. So I found a private parking lot where I pay them $500 per month, and they let me park my 6 cars there, like whenever. And so that's where I store them now, since being threatened with a lawsuit.
Yeah, that'll make you change your business model.
Yeah, it will. And so I moved them there, and I don't meet any of my guests for any of my cars unless it's a private renter.
Okay.
I'll meet them. And the C8, I always try to meet them because what I really like about that car, it's really good for networking. I'm curious to see who's renting that car and for what reason. I've met a lot of really cool people. And so, yeah, only the C8 and private renters I'll meet in person.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense, right? The people that are willing to spend that amount of money probably have a little bit of money. You can either learn something from them
Mm-hmm.
or network and meet other people. Yeah, that's a really great. That's a good point. Um, at this point, right? You're about 13 months in. You've been doing this for a while. You've probably got your ducks in a row. How many hours per month do you say you spend working in your business, actually working on washing cars, moving cars, meeting guests, things like that?
I would say I'd spend definitely no more than like 3 to 4 hours a week. Um, I guess with driving, we could up that to like 5 hours, if I'm doing like a lot of deliveries. So 5 times 4, about 20, 15 to 20,
20 hours.
15 to 25, I'll say is like a good range per month.
Awesome. Yeah, I think that's about accurate. And then how many hours do you think outside of being in your business do you think you spend working on your business, either reviewing your analytics, researching your market?
Per month?
Yeah.
Um, I don't know. Now, like, I have a really good system going. For the first few months, definitely was putting in a lot more. Now, like, I don't see myself putting in more than like 5 to 10 hours per month, just because now,
Yeah.
like, I have a very good understanding of my market. Um, yeah, and like when I do check my prices, that's not taking too long, like 5, 10 minutes.
Yeah, got it down to a perfect science. You can just go in 10 minutes and you're done. So it kind of puts it in perspective for people looking to get into this, right? A lot of people think it's a passive business. It can be, right? It's not going to be passive to the extent where you are completely hands off, but considering that on the worst month you're spending 30 hours a month,
Hmm.
that's insane. That's less than most people work in a week. I know when I was working my job, I was working 50 plus hours a week.
Yeah, yeah.
So good for you.
Yeah, that's why I really liked Turo. I mean, I really liked cars, and I knew it could be pretty lucrative, especially when I did like the research on how interest rates were going, how the car market itself was going. I didn't see many people buying cars right now, just because also credit card debt is at an all-time high, and so I felt like not many people could afford to get a car. But obviously, with that high credit card debt, people were willing to rent the cars, and
Yep.
I mean, just recently I sent you a picture of it. I had a guest. He rented my Toyota, and I don't know why, but he sent me a picture of the car in the background, and then half the photo was his credit card bill for $24,000. I was like, "What are you doing, dude? Why are you sending me that?"
That was the weirdest thing. Why did he include that in the picture? Like that was like majority of the picture.
Yeah, and it like very obviously like he was holding it up so the camera was getting that balance.
That was wild. Yeah. I mean, it goes to show, and I just read something the other day that I think 48% of Americans don't have $1,000 in their bank account.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I've read that too.
How that, I mean, it's insane. So definitely a good way to kind of get to the market. People that don't need a car every single day of the month. They just need one maybe 3 days out of the month. They work from home. They need to do something, travel
Mm-hmm.
or whatever, and you fill that hole perfectly. So let's kind of roll off of that. So let's say we're talking 20 to 30 hours a month. What is your best revenue month? And then what was your worst revenue month? And probably your worst revenue month was when you only had one car, but kind
Yeah.
of give us a perspective of what you're looking at.
So my best revenue month was in August. Um, that's when I was doing a lot of private rentals. I did. Let me pull up what Turo was. I know what the private rentals were. So in August, I did $6,200 revenue, but then I did just under 9,000 private rentals. Like I was
Wow.
pretty much strictly private rentals regarding the Beamer and the Corvette. And also during that time, I was down one car. Like I didn't have a car that I currently have, which is the Toyota. Um, but if we go best month since having all my vehicles, um, I was doing about 14,000 per month, and
Wow.
rep and profit wise, that's about 10,000, $9,000.
Yeah. Geez. So total expenses for your cars on a typical month to month, 7 cars, right around $5,000, you're saying?
4,500, yeah.
4,500. Yeah, that's insane. Awesome. And then
Oh wait,
do you
worst month you asked me. The
oh
worst month with all my vehicles was actually last month, January, but we had a
yeah.
snowstorm, and some of my vehicles are only two-wheel drive, so obviously no
Yeah.
one wants to rent those. But including private rentals, I did $7,500. So
Yeah.
yeah, I took away with 3,000. It was like nothing terrible, but nothing great.
Yeah, but still knowing that if you hit your worst possible month with God's axe, a snowstorm, you can still make money.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean
Yeah,
that butchered like a good 2 weeks of rentals, and obviously no one wants to rent a Tesla during a snowstorm either,
exactly.
and a Corvette. So like I was pretty much down to like two vehicles.
Yeah, the only two that people would be willing to rent. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a great point. I would never take a Corvette into a snowstorm. That's just that. So, of your vehicles, do you own all of them or do you co-host any of them?
I own them all.
Okay. And what are your thoughts on co-hosting? Do you have any intent on doing it in the future? Are you totally against it?
Yeah, so I actually just recently opened it up to friends and family. I have one who's looking to buy a car and then give it to me. I have another who's looking to give me their Tesla Model S. And then I have like a few people who just reached out to do it. I'll probably take 25 to 30% of the gross revenue. And yeah, I mean, as long as I'm making probably about ideally $400 to $500 minimum per month, I'm fine with that just because I have like everything down to a science.
Yeah.
And I know like it would be very minimal time on my part invested, and they're more so just paying to have the car on my platform and get the pictures done, the SEO done, and also the customer communication. Like I'll be handling all that, but I got everything down to pretty good science now.
Yeah. And right. So you can make a couple $100 a month with only a couple of hours, and then that person will also make money.
Hmm.
Yeah. Perfect. Um, how many, let's say outside of co-hosting, right? Because it sounds like you have the potential to add, 3 to 5 cars through co-hosting this year. Do you plan on adding any additional cars yourself?
Um, I do. So the issue with being 24 years old and getting cars, um, so I want to increase my credit history, and by doing so, I'd ideally choose to finance. But obviously, like I just recently tried to get a car, and they were like saying like 27% interest. So I was just like, I'll just buy the whole car outright. Fuck that. Um, but obviously, I'm not trying to do that either. Like I've only done it with one car. Um, but yeah, I don't think I'll be adding this year. That's where I think co-hosting will come in. But next year, yeah, probably, because by next year I should have 5 out of the 6. Only the Corvette should have loan left. So
Nice.
by next year, yeah, I'll look to increase my fleet.
Yeah, so that brings me to another good question. With your profits each month, it sounds like you're taking a majority of that and you're paying down the car notes on the cars that you have currently financed.
It depends per car. I mean, the economy cars, I keep all the profit.
Okay.
But I do pay off the monthly car note. But
Yeah.
with the Corvette, everything goes to that one. I always try to be 2 months ahead of the billing. So we're in February, so I've paid off until April. And then once
Nice.
it gets to April, I pay off until June.
Got it. Makes sense. So considering, let's say you are going to add these couple of cars this year, have you projected what your anticipated revenue is going to be for 2024?
Yeah, I have. So at the current rate we're going, I should be at about 150 to 165,000.
Strictly through Turo, or is that including your
That's
private and
including
everything?
privates.
Nice. Okay. Awesome. And then you're expecting your margins, what, over 50%? So you're expecting to walk away with probably just about six figures profit.
Yeah, just about. And I mean,
Man,
for a business that's taking, as we said, like 30%, I mean, 30 hours on my worst month. Yeah, it's pretty
yeah,
good. Gives me
300
time to focus
hours,
on other
100 grand.
ventures.
You're making over 300 bucks an hour at the end of the day.
Yep.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Very cool. See, I guess I already talked about that. So here's a really good question that I don't see talked about enough kind of in this space. People will just talk about, oh, go out and buy this car. It works perfectly for your market, which we know, right? Being in the game, it's not exactly the case. Since Turo has such a low barrier of entry, right? Almost anyone, regardless of age, income, they can kind of just go out and buy a car, and it has such a low barrier of entry to get into Turo.
Hmm.
What are you doing? Maybe not as specifically because TPP has some things that we kind of talk about on how to separate yourself. What are some simple things that you do to separate yourself from your competitors?
Um, so one thing I do is I take I personally, I've only had one person complain, so that's why I'm not generalizing it. But I think I take really dope photos. And
Yeah, 100%.
yeah, so for those who don't know, I take like these aerial photos, and a lot of people think it's like a drone. I tell people like I climb a tree and I take a picture, but so I take these really dope aerial photos in the same spot. So I maintain consistency throughout all my pictures, and I think that looks very professional. It makes people think like they're renting a car from like a real business. My SEO, meaning my bio, my scheduled messages, they're all very professional. Um, and yeah, I'm just very timely. Like, pretty much all my reviews say like great communication. That's a big thing. Like I rented a vehicle once through Turo. I rented a C8, and they just had awful communication. So when I knew I would get into it, I knew that communication was a big factor that would separate me from most, along with my photos and SEO.
Yeah, definitely huge. I mean, your photos are top notch, way better than mine. Something I always say. But that consistency is a big deal, right? People will be scrolling through and just looking for random cars, and something in their brain will switch when they see your X1 and then they see your Toyota and then they see your C8, but they see the same photo. They go, oh, wow. Okay. It just clicks in their brain and says, this guy is a brand.
Hmm.
I can trust this guy. Look at all the cars he has. They all look the exact same. They're all perfectly clean. They click on your page and they see your entire fleet. They see your bio, and it gives them confidence to book with you. So that's a huge point.
Yeah, another thing I do, I got like 200 business cards made, and so I just put them in the glove box of each vehicle that gets rented. And I would say
Nice.
about like one in every five, the business card gets taken. Who knows if they're throwing it away or keeping it, but 1 out of 5 it gets taken. Obviously, I'm going to be optimistic and assume they're just keeping it for future reference.
Yeah.
But if they don't, I just leave it and until the next guest takes it.
That's awesome. Yeah, heck yeah. Bet you get a lot of private rentals from that too.
I do.
People phone call you right back.
Mm-hmm.
So, of your 7 cars, what would you say was your best purchase? Which car has been number
Ooh,
one? Happy you bought it.
that's a tough one. So like, I just recently got the Toyota, and whereas January was a tough month for me, that one did 4x its monthly quote, which is
Wow.
pretty good. So if I'm going just based off this year, definitely that car. But since I've had like I have a Volkswagen Jetta, um, I mean that car has paid off. I mean, if it continues at its rate, within a full year of having it, it will have paid off 70% of its price tag.
Wow.
Yeah, in 1 year, which is insane.
So you're talking about if you keep that car for 5 years, man, you're walking away with almost 5x the cost of the car.
Yeah.
Jesus. Okay, so tie between the Toyota and the Jetta. Do you have a worst purchase?
Oh, definitely the C8. That thing was stupid. I mean, like it's a cool car. I love driving it myself, and just recently I started making YouTube videos with it. I mean, I'm gonna try my best to get the most out of that. I'm gonna call it an asset, but
Yeah.
I'm gonna try my best to get the most out of it. But man, like the some of the renters I get with it, and like just dealing with damages, it's such a hassle, and it's really just not worth it. Like if I could go back with the knowledge I do now, I would definitely have just gotten like 3 more economy cars.
Okay. But every month you make money on the car, but you just think that profit wise, comparably to the economy cars, you're making more on the economy cars every month.
Yeah, and I mean, so the Corvette, it went out on a trip and it got damaged on Christmas Eve at 9 p.m. Um,
Jesus.
yeah, they came back at 9 p.m. That's why like I remember it, and I was like with family. But so I picked that up, and the car, from the moment I reported the damage to like my local body shop,
Yeah.
um, it took 1 month from the car on Christmas Eve, so January 24th. January 24th is when I relisted it on Turo, when I got like
Wow.
the damages fixed and stuff. So,
So it being a high end, newer car with not parts very available, that's kind of a hiccup, right?
yeah.
Okay. I guess kind of going off of that, with your cars, what is your plan? Do you plan to, like, let's say you have a 5 year note on the car. Do you plan on selling it at 5 years, 3 years? Are you going to run it until it is completely dead in the water, or what's your plan with your fleet?
So all the cars I chose, I made sure to like do a lot of research and like research their lifespan. And it
Okay.
seems like all my vehicles, I can run them until like 200,000 miles, excluding the Corvette, obviously. But probably all my cars, I'm gonna run it until they die, or I guess until I need like I don't know, like a lot of cash to like get a house, like put down a down payment or whatever.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, so I think the plan is to run them until they die.
Yeah. I mean, as long as possible until,
Hmm.
awesome. Okay. And then you do everything yourself in Turo? You wash all the cars yourself, 100% you?
Yeah, so I have a car wash near me. I pay it's $12 a month to get unlimited car washes on the exterior, and then they have like this little vacuuming with rag unit that like you can go to right like you leave the exterior car wash, you like do a U-turn, and they have like 15 vacuums with like rag stations.
Yeah.
But it's $12 a month per car, but then they say it's like a discount if you use the same credit card. So like I'm one of those people who I don't really keep track of my monthly expenses. I round up.
Yeah.
So I don't know the exact numbers I'm always doing, but I always know the worst case scenario months.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm spending like about, with the discount, $60 per month, and I just take the cars to that car wash. It's about 5 minutes away from me. Get them cleaned, and they're ready for the next trip.
Dude, $12 a month is nothing.
Yeah, I know. It was great. I'm so happy I found this car wash.
That is cheap. The closest one to me is like 5 minutes, and I think it's like $38 a month. So I go a little further. I'm like a probably like an 8 to 10 minute drive, and I'm still at 24 bucks a month. Same exact deal.
They don't offer like a bulk discount for having multiple cars.
Dude, so when I first went in, that's what whoever I spoke to, I thought he was the owner. He was talking like he was the owner. He told me that. So I brought my first car and I'm like, oh, great. Sign me up on the first car. I'm going to come back with 11 more cars over the
Mm.
next couple of days. Never seen the guy again in my life. The second car I brought, it was the GM who I've got to know. And he's like, yeah, that we don't do that. That's like a fleet discount for like cops and enterprise. And I'm like enterprise. He's like, no, you're not. You're paying 24 bucks a month per car.
Oh
But
man.
I've got a good relationship with them. They're really good to me. I can run the cars through multiple times a day. So not a big deal, but 12 bucks, man, that would feel good.
Yeah.
So with Turo, right? The word that's going around every single day is saturation. What are your thoughts on Turo long term? Do you think that it's oversaturated at this point, or is there going to be a competitor that's going to come in and maybe take over Turo? What are your thoughts?
Um, I do think a competitor will come. Um, just because like I think of like Airbnb and Verbo. You know, it took Verbo some time to come in, but they eventually did. I don't know when a competitor will come in, but it probably will because I think Turo's doing pretty good. I haven't looked at their monthly statements, but I'd assume they're doing pretty well. They've been around since 2013. Um, Long term, I think if you're differentiating yourself and you know you're trying to make it like if you're willing to put in the hours in the beginning to make your page stand out and you know get good customer service and repeated customers, I do think you will survive in the game. You know, as long as you're not one of those people who are like, oh, I want to get on Turo, let me go get a Tesla because it's the easiest thing to purchase. You know, you like do a little Apple Pay and boom, the car is ordered. Um, yeah, I think if you're doing the proper research for your market, you're seeing which cars are in high demand. Um, you know, if people really want all-wheel drive, four-wheel drive, what colors people like, convertibles, coupes, SUVs, minivans. If you're doing that research, yeah, I think you'll definitely survive and make good money, no matter what. And
Awesome.
obviously at TPP, we'll do that research for you.
Yeah, so talk a little bit about TPP, right? So Turo Profits Program, it's the name of our company. It's kind of a coaching. We have some instructional videos. Talk a little bit about the benefit of why someone would want to join TPP, what they can learn through us that they probably wouldn't learn on themselves.
Yeah, so I mean, when I got into Turo last year, there was really nothing like what we're offering. Um, I'm sure there's a few others now. I mean, we've done the research. There is a few others, but man, they're offering crap. Um, One, it's only one host in one location. You know, sometimes they could be in multiple locations. But with TPP, you're getting us two in two completely different states. Um, we're both power hosts, and the reason I came up with it is because you know you and I got to know one another, and you helped me out, and I was like, dude, we should like definitely be helping people out, and so you know I came up with the idea to create TPP with you, and we made everything because like if I had TPP when I first started, I for sure would have made the investment, and you know you guys would have said like, dude, why are you getting a Corvette for your second car? Um, and like, yeah, you guys just because I did like another dumb thing where I like offered unlimited mileage at one point. Um, like just having something like this would have really helped. You know, someone were to research your market, and you know we could do this insanely quick now because now we're so familiar with like everything.
Yeah.
We would have just researched your market, told you like what you can offer, what you can do, ways to maximize your ROI, ways to maximize your utilization. And yeah, like you would have like the cost of entry into TPP, you would have made up for it within I like I'm going to speak for me as if I were just starting Turo. You would have made
Yeah.
up for it within like 2 to 3 months. And yeah, I just think it's a great thing what we're offering and you know, once it gets more mainstream, you know, people will really see that like we're not only saving you time and money, we're saving you such a headache. Like, even with damage claims, like, even to this day, I still hit you up, like, yo, what would you do? And it's just really great to have not just one, but two second opinions.
Yeah, I think it's a huge point. A lot of people that watch this will probably be on the Reddit forums. They're maybe a part of a Discord group or something like that. I still check all those things out all the time because there's always more information to learn. Although on that Reddit forum, you really don't learn anything. I notice a lot that, to your point, people handle these things really, really poorly. And then they go online on Reddit or on Discord channels and they try to tell other people how to handle it.
Yeah, man, Jesus.
It's insane. I was just looking at one the other day, and a guest had a certain dollar deductible and the host had their deductible, and someone goes on there and they recommend that they go through Turo. Now this guy's gonna be out of pocket $2,500, whereas if he would have been in our group and kind of gone through the process that we go through, we have a guy in our group right now, one of our students that bought the program. He's gonna end up making $1,600 on the claim instead of losing $2,500. So there's definitely value in having a mentor and someone that's done it many, many times, and especially two guys that have done it many times, because it could be the difference. Losing 2,500 and gaining 1,600 bucks. That's what, a $4,100 difference.
Yeah, and
You know what I mean?
that's implying you only have one car, and
Right.
yeah, to me, it's just, it makes so much sense to do the investment and just get everything down. And if you're not getting everything down, you're gonna learn as you go. And then you have us too, like, telling you, like, the ways to, like, just better yourself on Turo. Because I mean, like, we've seen, like, when he did hit us up, like, with that damage claim, he was like messaging us like crazy within like a minute span, and like we responded to him like 5 minutes later. But like, I just know, like, I know when I got my first damage claim, like, I was like kind of freaking out. Like, just to have us two, like, I was kind of like joking around with him. I was like, because he like told us like what the Turo options were. How, like, bro, we know what the options are.
I think we got this.
Yeah, so I was like joking around with him, and then like you tell him like how, like, I gave him what I would do, and then you gave him what you would do, and now he's gonna walk out with a nice profit.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
we just really calmed him down, gave him two expert level advice, and now he's gonna make some money.
Awesome. So on a final note, let's talk about if you were going to start fresh, right? Tomorrow you were brand new to the game, 23 years old like you were when you started. Would you jump headfirst into it, or would you look for mentorship and find someone that would be able to give advice and kind of walk you through the correct and incorrect ways of doing it?
I would 100% seek. I mean, I did seek mentorship advice. I mean, it's why was watching so many YouTube videos. The thing with the YouTube videos is, like, so many of these people were just like getting cars that I would never get, or they were just in areas that aren't similar to my area. And like, I researched a lot, and like probably 95% of what I found was just like a waste of time. Yeah, I would have for sure done mentorship, because you guys would have like helped me pick the vehicles. Um, you would have helped me pick the right deductible plan off the rip, and just getting like properly situated. Because I remember, like, I think it was my second trip, I used an air tag, and it just so happened to be that the second renter was a lawyer. Bro,
Oh man.
bro, he sent me like a book. He sent me a book saying like how like mad he was that he found an air tag. He was like, "Oh, I thought I've like been being tracked and like followed." I was like, "No, man, it's my air tag." And he was like, "You're not allowed to do this." And then, yeah, but it like went well. He was like, but it was funny because he like gave me an ultimatum. He was like, "I'm going to give you two options. One, I come back and return the air tag. Two, I come back and return the vehicle and I find another host." And I was like, obviously I'll choose number one. But like, I was without a tracker for that trip, but he brought it back fine and gave me 5 stars.
Right, there's little things like that that people, you just don't know until you know.
Yeah.
right? And you said it at the beginning. You've done over, what'd you say, over 260 trips?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you've had 260 trial and errors to be able to know, okay, this is what you do and this is what you don't do.
Mm-hmm.
So that's
Yeah.
huge.
Yeah, but that was a good learning moment. I've had some pretty funny renters.
Yeah, I can imagine. What's your best renter story? Someone that's rented from you outside of the air tag. What's a funny story that we can leave these folks with?
Funny story, man. I don't have any. I don't think I have many funny stories. Like, I definitely got a good bit of horror stories. And they pretty much all relate to the C8. Except
Hit
for
it, hit 'em, boys.
one recently with the Toyota, which you know about. But I'll probably make a video on my channel, like where I'm like doing like a POV drive, and I'll talk about it. Um, but a funny story.
No, maybe we leave that. Maybe we leave that for your channel then. Link your channel below, and within the next couple of weeks, you guys will hear this story. You want to hear this story, so check out his channel, subscribe, and wait for him to talk about. I mean, I don't even want to give anything away, but the madness of what this what this guy tried to do with you.
Yeah, no, this man was very schizo. Like, just started talking to me about like crypto payments, like out of nowhere. I was like, dude, what? And just for the viewers watching it, this is the same renter who like sent me his credit card bill. It's the same dude. But like not necessarily a funny story, but like a cool networking thing with the Corvette. This dude, he's like the president of some private IT company in the government. Dude's got like three Lamborghinis, an Aston
Jeez.
Martin, a Ferrari, an M8 competition, an M4 competition, and then like a beautiful like $2 million house. And he took my C8 because he wanted to buy one, and he was like test driving it. And yeah, the dude like shows up with like his chauffeur, and he was just like, "Yeah, if you're ever in the area, just stop by my house, and you can take one of my cars for the week."
What?
And he's got like an SVJ too. I was like, that's like $1 million car, and you're just like saying I could just take it for the week, which was really cool. I haven't taken him up on the offer yet because he lived like pretty far away, but he was a really cool dude. And then when he dropped it off, he had like three phones in his hand. And he's like, dude, I gotta run. Like, I got this flight to catch. I just booked it like 10 minutes ago. I was like, okay, dude.
Holy crap!
Real big
So this
shot,
guy
but he was a
on
cool
it.
dude.
Heck yeah, that's awesome. So, on a final note, on this channel, what can the viewers expect to see from us in the future? What kind of content are we going to be putting out here?
So we've interviewed the two goats. We interviewed us. So I think we're gonna be finding other power hosts that we vouch for or that we believe could provide good insight. We're gonna be interviewing them. We're gonna be talking our own like horror stories and like ways we got around it, such as you spoke about your Mustang damage in the last interview. We're going to be talking about how you're going about your damage claim. And yeah, I mean, the we could do a lot. Like what do you think we should do?
No, I think that we have a lot of stories that will add value. So I think that that's going to be the premise of this YouTube channel is we're going to try to find ways to add value to Turo Host outside of our content that we have that folks can subscribe to. Um, I think that showing a day in our life is kind of really important because
Oh yeah.
people, they may have one car and they may be overwhelmed, whether they're working another job or whatever the case may be. But I think that if they get some insight into how two power hosts generating over six figures in profit every single year go about their days running a 7 car fleet or a 12 car fleet, or by the end of the year, we're probably both going to be at 20 car fleets. I think it'll give them some perspective on how this business can be really high volume and high profit, but low effort at the end of the day. So I think that really we're just going to be trying to give people perspective and add as much value as we can to hopefully, you know, grow the platform. Because at the end of the day, we talk about it all the time, you and I. We're in the top 1%. So we're willing to give out some information and some advice because we know that as long as we're in the top 5%, we're going to continue to be making money. So there's room for more people like Steven and myself. So we just want to come on here, record some videos, give some insight, add value, and hopefully, grow that 1% in our own little group.
Yeah. Couldn't have said it better
Awesome.
myself.
Beautiful. All right. Well, I think that is all, man. If you have anything else for the viewers, go ahead. If not, we're willing to give as much as we can. Hopefully, we're going to put the links down below. Like this video, subscribe, check out TPP, and we hope to work with you guys.
Yeah, guys. Peace. Like and subscribe. Comment with what else you want to see. Give us some ideas as well. And hopefully we see you in the TPP server. Peace.
All right. Peace.